Okay, so today we're talking about the differences between being a teenager and becoming a young adult. Now, there are some changes that you might not realize that are going to happen that you might want to look out for. Today we're going through 10 to 12-ish things that you're going to want to keep an eye out for. And some things to expect, both good and bad. Right now, coming up. Okay, so in no particular order, we're going to start with increased independence. As a teenager, you're living with your parents and you're kind of stuck under their roof and abiding by their rules. But when you become a young adult and you're living on your own, these things tend to change. So you're living suddenly by your own rules, you have to set your own schedule and your own rhythm, and that is really freeing, and there's something really good to be said about that. But it's also going to take a measure of responsibility to make sure that you manage your time and your life well, because mommy ain't going to do it for you anymore. Number 2. Developing a new self-identity. Now, the blessing and the curse of high school is that, and I guess you could say a little bit with college as well, I suppose, is that your identity is very much morphed by the people around you. They say that you're the average of the people you surround yourself with. That's why you find a lot of the cliques are cliques, because like minds will kind of stick together. And so you get all the different people from certain kind of cliques, and they all sound the same, and they all dress the same, and they all wear the same, accessories and things like that. There's a reason for that. You are the average of the people you surround yourself with. Now, that said, as soon as you get out of high school and that sort of thing, you are suddenly not around all these people anymore. You are not seeing them on the daily, and you are not affected by the things that they do. You could, in theory, start completely new, which I encourage, because if you move to a new town or you go to a new school, you will quickly realize everything that was important to you in high school is now irrelevant. The people you surround yourself with are only going to know you. They're not going to know that embarrassing thing that happened in junior high. They're not going to know the gossip that happened in your high school, things like that. You are going to be completely wiped clean of drama, basically. And so if you find that you have drama in your life after that fact, it's because you somehow found it. Pretty much. Which means it's a really good opportunity for you to start over. What I like to tell people is take away everything in your life that shapes who you are. Kind of take away all the external influences of your life. Say, take away social media, your current friend group, your family, your siblings, your relatives, things like that. Who are you? What are you like? If time was no object and money wasn't an issue, what would you be spending your time doing? What are your interests? What are you actually about? And for a lot of people, that's the first time they've thought about it. They don't know. Well, I don't know. I've always done what my friends have done, or I've always had the habits that my family's developed. But it's when you have no restraints on you, what do? That's something that's really powerful. You start to learn that when you move out on your own. There are things that my family did that I actually don't really like that much, and I think I want to do it a different way. And that's okay, and that's freeing. Education. Now, I kind of touched up on this in the last video, but when it comes to education, you don't necessarily have to go to college. You could do a trade. There's a lot of money to be made by plumbers and HVAC technicians, electricians, things like that. And not just for men, by the way. If you're a female looking to go into a trade, you can make extra money doing that just because you're a woman. Sounds weird, but it's true. That said, as a young adult, these are your pursuits to pursue. No one's going to force you. Now, unless you're in a, say like a military family and you're operating off of the VA loan from your parents or something like that, you're gonna wanna probably capitalize on that for something. But you don't have to. You don't have to. You're an adult now. You don't have to. And if you don't want to burden yourself with classes, like I know for myself, I couldn't stand the thought of taking any more college classes. I graduated high school, I did 2 years of college, and I was done. Now, I'm doing okay vocationally. I have a steady job, and it pays my bills, and it supports my family, and my wife can stay home with the kids. But you don't have to, if you don't want to dedicate 50 hours a week to school and another 30 hours a week to work, or however it works out to be, you don't have to. You don't have to. Financial responsibilities. Moving out on your own can be really intimidating for some, but the concern I've heard from some people is, how am I going to do it with finances? And admittedly, things are difficult right now. 2023 and 2022 have been a really rough year as far as interest rates being brought up and things like that. Amount of money, however, that it costs for a single person to live, as long as they're responsible, is actually not as much as you might think. You can get cheap phone plans, you can eat cheap food, not bad food. If you take the time to learn how to cook food at home and not just eat out all the time, if you can settle for making coffee at home and not getting Starbucks every day or every other day, or if you can rein in your spending habits even part of the way, you'll find that you can save a lot of money every month just by being frugal in some ways. Now, whether that's learning how to make a lot of cheap food for college, or if it means just getting your budget together. Some of you are asking me, what is a budget? That's something else we can talk about, but that's something you're going to want to get a grip on pretty soon here. One young lady expressed fears to me that she doesn't know how much she spends in a month, and that's okay. Now's the perfect time to find out, before you get out on your own. So what are the things that you have to consider? Your car, your insurance, your phone, things like that. Start adding all these up together. If you have a job, which I'm assuming you do, don't move out if you don't have a job. Add all of those up, compare how much you make to how much you spend, and you'll know what to fix from there. Either you need to pick up more hours or you need to stop spending as much. It's actually really simple. And if you're really good, you can actually save some money to invest or to save for the holidays or, save it up for Black Friday deals or something like that. That's my favorite time of the year. Shifting relationships. Now, as you get out of high school, you are not going to be spending the time with the people that you usually do, necessarily. You'll still have a friend group that's still around you, but if you're moving to a new city, college, new school, something like that, then you're going to find that you have to make new friends in a new area, and that's great, because you're going to realize the kind of people that you want to spend time with are probably going to be more like you, and you are actually going to have more of a choice, if I can say it like that. You're going to be able to pick and choose. Just like your life up until now, the people you surround yourself with typically might be people from your job, people from school, or if you're just striking it out on your own, you might be sitting in your new apartment by yourself thinking, I'm really lonely and I need to go meet some people. So you're going to go to a coffee shop, or you're going to go to a hobby store or a library or a bookstore or something, and you're going to start striking up conversations with people. Or you might start doing group sports activities at, say, like the YMCA or something like that. You're going to put yourself out there in such a way that you're going to have to interact with people, and you'll eventually start building those relationships with people, ergo friendships. You might meet a special someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with. You don't know. But that's how it happens. It's called organic something. That's how you meet people. That's how it's done in the real world. It's not social media. It's not like, hey, what's your snap? And then you've got this dude stalking you on your social media for the next 6 years. You will go talk to people, like, to their actual faces, and you will make relationships. And kind of like what I said before, you're going to be able to do it from starting from a fresh place of not having to feel the pressure of performing for the people that you've kind of had to put your guard up around, if that makes sense. Living arrangements. Now, becoming a young adult means that you have to take care of yourself. No one's going to scoop your litter box for you, which means the bills are on you, and the food situation is on you, and any pets that you have are on you, and everything is going to sink or swim on you, which is both intimidating and freeing at the same time, because you can do the things that you want to do in the way that you want to do it and spend your money the way that you want to spend it. And you're not going to have anybody limiting you. You're only going to succeed or fail on your own merit. Developing life skills. The first couple of years out of your parents' house, you're going to learn a lot of important stuff. Budgeting, time management, building effective communication skills, building good relationships. These are all things that you're going to learn whether you want to or not, because you're going to have to. The problem with conflict resolution these days is that people don't actually resolve conflict. They will take the insult or the slight on the chin, and then they will go to somebody else and say, look at what so-and-so did, or so-and-so just did this to me. Instead of just saying, hey, I don't appreciate you talking to me in that manner. Maybe you should go find somewhere else to be if you can't be polite. It could be anything. I mean, insert any hypothetical situation. But being able to just build up the nerve to say, hey, I don't appreciate the way that you're behaving, takes a lot of guts and a lot of nerve. And up until this point, maybe you haven't had a reason or an opportunity to practice those skills. But as an adult, you're going to have to learn those things, and it's going to start coming more and more natural, and you're going to be happy you have those in your tool belt. Expanded worldview. When you get out into the real big bad world, you're going to understand, maybe on a more real level, that there are people that aren't like you. Shocker. Now, people who are not like you are going to have different mannerisms, different habits, different beliefs, and they're going to be vocal or quiet about these things. It's going to be up to you whether these things matter or if you want to dig into them, whether it's politics or whether it's religion or whether it's a regional thing. My wife and I, a couple of years ago, moved to the American South for the first time, and let me tell you, growing up in the Pacific Northwest, it is different. Very different. But that's a good thing because I'm learning a lot about people and cultures that I didn't grow up with. It's been really insightful to take what I did know, taking it to what I didn't know, and blending the two together and making better communication skills and making better investments and life decisions and things like that. These sort of things, broadening your worldview, are going to help you in a lot of other areas. Emotional and psychological growth. Studies show that teenage boys don't actually finish developing until they're age 23. That's just mentally. A man won't stop growing and his body won't stop changing until he's like in his 30s or 40s. Which means, as a man, you could be out on your own for 5 years or more and still have really childish habits. Shocker. These are topics of self-discovery that you might not be prepared for. You know, suddenly you're going to hit 22 and you realize I'm growing up pretty fast. Again, that's okay. One thing's going to happen after another and you'll learn to manage stress, and when things go wrong, you'll know how to handle it better, and it's going to give you a greater self-awareness, which is arguably one of the most valuable traits you'll have. The exploration of personal goals. Personal goals are actually really interesting because when you become an adult, you realize that personal goals, maybe up until this point, haven't been personal. Say you took sports in high school and you've been a great soccer player for 5 or 6 years. Well, did you join soccer because you wanted to join soccer, or is that something that your mother thought would be good for you to pursue? Maybe you want to do tennis and you didn't really realize it till just now, but now you have the freedom to pursue that. Soccer was great, maybe you like the swingy stuff and not the kicky stuff so much, I don't know. In the same ways, somebody might have in their head that you need to go to college and you need to do the thing that you have to do, but you might have the idea of wanting to just start your own business. And small businesses are very valuable these days. It takes very little capital, and all it takes is a little bit of good planning and you're off to the races. And this principle kind of applies to everything, whether it's relationships, careers, things like that. Somebody may have made a decision for you long ago that you maybe just bought into and you didn't really make the decision yourself. Whether it's religious or relational or vocational, you have a lot of options, and you might not realize going into it that you have a lot of options, but you do. Okay, so there it is, 10 things. Well, I said like 10 to 12, so let's see if we can think of another one. What's a good 11? Oh, actually, I do have another one. Something that you're going to realize going into adulthood is that nobody's going to care. Nobody cares. Because once you are not somebody else's problem, i.e. your parents, they're not legally liable for you. So once you're not on the, say, liability side of the law, like once you're an adult, like you are on your own. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you paint your car pink, or if you decide that you want to dress like you just crawled out of a dumpster every day, no one's gonna necessarily step in the way to try to change you. Like, you're gonna rise or fall on your own work. You know, it's not like your mother is checking your outfit before you go out to school and saying, that's a dirty shirt, go put on a clean shirt. No one's going to do that. You know, once you're an adult, nobody cares. Like, you're your own problem. And so that's something to keep in mind, is that a little bit of self-awareness is going to go a long way when it comes to preparing you for the future. So there you go, number 11. If you liked what we talked about today and you want to hear more on any of those particular topics, just let me know. The comment section is down below. If you want to get more of these videos or get notified when they come up, just hit all the little bell icons, the ringy dingies, and the subscribe, all that. A like is going to be the best thing for the YouTube algorithm. That's going to help me a lot, and I will see you next time.